Hello everyone, and welcome to Dagon or Dagon. I'm not 100% sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, but it's a funky, cool looking game. I really like this loading screen, I'm not gonna lie. It's very fancy, very artsy. I like the style. Honestly, that would be a really cool tattoo. Anyways, I digress. Welcome. Alright, let's just see. Sounds alright. I think we can just start right in. Dagon is a faithful, interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, actions, sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Hello. Okay. Alright, let's check out the room. It looks like it's raining. The roof looks like it's got a bit of a leak. You know, there's some water damage going on. The walls are, yeah, this is fine. Do I click? It has instructions. In the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder Sign. Okay, so it looks like we have to right-click on things. Going to make the assumption. Ooh. Ha ha ha! We found one! As to letters, my case is peculiar. I write such things exactly as easily and as rapidly as I would utter the same topics in conversation. Indeed, epistolary expression is with me largely replacing conversation, as my condition of nervous prostration becomes more and more acute. I cannot bear to talk much now, and am becoming as silent as the spectator himself. The spectator? Who is the spectator? My loquacity ends itself on paper. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned around 100,000 letters to his friends and fans, out of which about 10% survive to this day. But his tendency to endless correspondence was a relatively late growth. In youth, I scarcely did any letter writing, thanking anybody for a present was so much more of an ordeal that I would rather have written a 250-line pastoral or a 20-page treatise on the rings of Saturn. Jeez. Alright, there's gonna be a lot of big words. I'm gonna butcher all of them. I might be good at reading. Doesn't mean I know all words. Heh. Lovecraft would often skip meals to afford postage. Collections of his correspondence have been published in various books, and selected letters can be found online. Some readers consider them his important legacy. Show trivia upon finding them. Ooh. Okay. Trivia's fun, but I don't think... I think we can go back and read the trivia, you know? It's not necessary.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Drugs. Alright, so he's taking drugs and he wants to eat himself. You know, 10 out of 10.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
Morphine. The more you know. Then what should we think? Is there any secrets here? No?
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Forgetfulness or death? I mean, I live with constant forgetfulness, so does that mean that I don't get death? Am I just gonna become immortal because my brain's just like, I can't remember shit?
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Okay. What's that little white spot? Nothing? Do we have any... Alright. Oh, I can look at the boat. Cool. Whoa. That scared me. Oh, I wasn't expecting
the Great
cannons.
War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Okay, can we talk about this, like, the sun on the water? This is so pretty. Like,
So that
10
our
out of
vessel
10.
was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Okay, cool. You were naval prisoners, slay, I guess. What is that? Is that a... Are we in Nazi era? I think that's what that eagle is. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I know he mentioned Germany. And the war.
So liberal,
Is this what the war
indeed, was
is?
the
Are we in
discipline of our
this
captors
period of time?
That 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Bro went, yeah, no, I don't care about anybody else. I'm getting out. Fair. Water and provisions. Splish,
When I
splash,
finally
I was
found
taking
myself
a
adrift
bath.
and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Let's see. Sky, sea. That's all of our surroundings.
Never a
Come
competent
on.
navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
Well, he's doing better than I would.
Of
I
the
don't even know
longitude,
lefts and rights
I
most
knew
of the
nothing,
time. I do have to
and
do
no
the finger
island
check.
or coastline was in sight.
My name's Clarice, and let's look at them.
The weather kept
Oh,
fair,
that
and for
got bright real
uncounted
quick.
days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Let me guess. One of those things happened because you lived to tell the tale. Let's drink our fears away.
But neither ship nor land appeared,
That actually
and I
might just
began
be a
to
water
despair
stand.
in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Vastness of unbroken blue. I like that line.
The
It's
change
dramatic
happened
as
whilst I
shit,
slept.
but I like it.
Its details I shall never know.
The
For my
change.
slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
The Kraken! Oh. Wait, what? Okay.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see,
Look at all the alien tentacles going on. That is...
and in which my
that is a
boat
lot.
lay grounded some distance away.
That indeed is some
Though
distance,
one
he's
might
right.
well imagine that my first
is
sensation
that?
would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected
a
a transformation of
crab
scenery,
squid.
I
Or not
was
a
in
crab, a
reality
snail
more
squid.
horrified than astonished.
Oh, yeah, I think if you woke up and this was what you were faced with, anyone would realistically be like, ah! Horror
For
movie.
there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
I mean, you're being stared at, so yeah, that's
The
fair.
region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish, and of other, less describable
I
things which
stood
I
up.
saw protruding from the nasty mud of the
That's an
unending
octopus.
plain.
Alright.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Ugh. I feel like the more I look, the more tentacles
There
I
was
find.
nothing within hearing,
Oh.
and nothing in sight, save
And
the vast reach of black slime.
even
Yet the
more.
very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
I mean, to be fair, it's not that still. You got some tentacles wiggling just everywhere. So,
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
the more you know. Is that not... Am I supposed to find something? What am I supposed to find? Am I supposed to... Ooh, boat. Oh, ew. That was not a pleasant sound.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
Ew. Wait, that is an entire moving,
Through some
breathing pile of
unprecedented
sludge.
volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
What is... is that supposed to be a whale, maybe? That's the only thing that large in the ocean that I could think of, maybe.
So great was the extent of the
shouldn't
new
still be
land which
breathing.
had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Damn.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
I mean, they're still moving. I don't think they're dead. At least not completely. Am I gonna eat the fish?
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay
Please
upon
don't
its
tell me I
side
have
and
to eat the
afforded a
fish.
slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
I can't get over that. I can't get over I
As
keep
the
looking
day
back at
progressed,
it. I just...
the ground lost some of
Ugh.
its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Look at that dude.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
I feel like if you find the sea and no people, that's like a... That won't work very well if you don't have your boat. Okay. I
On the
need to be a
third
little more
morning,
patient.
I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
What is
The
that?
odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so
Phew.
slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Into the unknown. Off we go. There we... I do not like the sound of the walking.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other
that?
elevation on the rolling desert.
Ew. That is... These are nasty. What in the... Oh, great. Oh, I was right. It is a whale. Oh, he's like dead. He's not breathing anymore. Well, that's awkward. Sorry about your death. I hope you lived a good life.
That night, I encamped,
Giant
and on the
worm.
following day still travelled toward the hummock,
Octopus.
though that object seemed
What
scarcely
is...
nearer than when I
What
had
am I
first
inside
espied it.
of? This... Yikes. This looks so gross. Ooh. Tentacle. Alright. Continuing on. That seemed like we were in the midst of a
By
giant
the fourth
octopus.
evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Oh, yeah, that is how things work. The closer you... that's how things work, you know? You get closer and they look bigger because
An
perspective.
intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
I mean, hey, you get a break from the sun for a bit.
Too
at
weary
least.
to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Exactly. You get a nice little shadow.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night.
Look at what you have just been walking through and tell me that you wouldn't have absolutely wild dreams from
But
that.
ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon
Like, huh?
had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
Insomnia be like,
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
why is that?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Yes, but also light.
Indeed, I now
is
felt
kind
quite
of
able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
All right, we're going up. Oh, let's grab our bag and go.
I have said that
What
the
could go
unbroken
wrong?
monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon,
Yo, do a flip.
whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Oh, dang.
I felt
Slay.
myself on the edge of the world.
This is kind of cool. Imagine being able to like stand in a place like this where like you can't see all the way down and it's literally just like this is it. This is the edge of the earth. Look at the stars. Bro. This is calm. Honestly, he should have just built a little shack and lived
Peering
here.
over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon
It looks like
climbed
fun.
higher in the sky,
we should
I
go
began
take a
to
trip.
see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Can we see?
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded
Yeah.
fairly easy footholds for a descent,
Oh yeah, we could drop down that easily.
whilst after a
This
drop
is
of
fine.
only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Are we going? Is there any secrets up here that we can see? Any secrets in the sky? No? Alright. Onwards we go. Down the mountain and into the...
Urged on by an impulse which I
Ooh.
cannot definitely analyze,
What is
I scrambled
this?
with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath,
I feel like I am now in a pit.
gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite
it's
slope,
shiny.
which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays
I like how
of the ascending moon.
just dark box, and as soon as he mentions it, it's like, ah. Yeah, let me light up real quick. Look at that thing. Do we go? We go. I do not like the footsteps. They're
That it
very
was
crunchy.
merely a
Like
gigantic
it's fitting,
piece
but
of stone,
I
I
don't like
soon
the sound.
assured myself. But I was
Mm-hmm.
conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
nah, really? Nature doesn't make right angles like
A
that
closer scrutiny
consistently?
filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Oh.
For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
Ooh.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Humans? Hopefully?
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of
Hopefully?
the scientists' or archaeologists' delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Alright, let's examine our surroundings a little more closely, yeah? Let's see, we got that just to move forward. Do we have any secrets we can find? No. Alright, onwards we go. We crunch on!
The
Oh hey, a
moon,
pool.
now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps.
I
that
kinda
ended
wanna
in the
drink the
chasm.
sludge. I realize it's probably a bad idea to drink the water sludge. The sludge water? Whatever you want to call it. But like, oh, what the? Wait a minute. Those are like, whatchamacallit? Hieroglyphics? I got like mermaids and shit in
And
here.
revealed the fact that a
Cool.
far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
Are we gonna
Across
take
the
a trip
chasm,
in?
the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith.
I just, I want to drink it. I know I should. I want to drink it. It probably won't let me.
Inscriptions,
but
and crude sculptures.
All right, let's look at the
writing
secret.
was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me.
Yeah, I was right.
Anything I'd ever seen in books.
Hieroglyphics. All right, we got some sea turtles. We got some sharks, a little seahorse, jellyfish, some crabs, some of those tentacle snails that we saw earlier, a starfish. Is this like the giant octopus that we saw the legs of earlier? Maybe. We'll never know.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Oh. I might be blind. Unless those little corner things are supposed to be eels.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain.
Aha, so he's like,
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Dun dun dun. What's the carving? Alright, we're gonna claim that.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
Mermen!
But the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
We got mermaids, they're canon.
Paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well.
Would it happen to be this shrine?
Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
What do you mean grotesque? Honestly, look at these guys. They're just cute little friends. I'd make friends with these guys. Look at this dude's little eyes. They just look lonely. If I could look like that, I would. Honestly,
human in
I
general
would.
outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips. Glassy, bulging eyes.
Next time somebody's talking too much, I'm just like, bro, your lips are so flabby. What's happening here?
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their seeming background.
What do you mean badly out of proportion?
One of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Oh. Maybe he is. You don't know.
Remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
That's what you think. Are we gonna meet
some
these
tribe whose last descendant had perished eras
mermaids?
before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or
These fish
Neanderthal
gods?
man was born.
Mergods. Yeah. Are we gonna meet these mergods? Because honestly, I kind of want to. They seem
Awestruck
cool.
at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me.
Yo!
Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Saw what? What'd we see? Is that supposed to be another face?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface,
Oh.
the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Yeah! We get to meet... Ooh! Okay. I wasn't expecting it to jump out like that. I thought it was just gonna be like a slow ascent. Dang. He kind of looks like the Hulk. The Hulk if he swam.
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Oh. Dude, honestly,
I went
that
mad
thing's
then.
ripped. You think?
Of my frantic
Honestly, you should have
ascent
tried
the
to talk.
sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Why would you go back? Why wouldn't you continue on? Come on. Come on. Have some fun with it, man. Why wouldn't you try to befriend the
I believe
creature?
I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
He's going through it. He's going through it. That poor whale, I feel bad. What happened to the sky? Hold on. Like, it's kinda looks cool,
I have
but...
indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat.
Right. It's getting bad out here.
Bells of thunder and other tones which nature utters in her wildest notes.
It is storming. I'm surprised all of the sludge hasn't become, like, just even grosser with all of that rain.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
San Fran with a little bit of a broken roof.
Brought
What's going
thither
on here?
by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Delirious but
In my
free.
delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Well, yeah, that's fair. You know, you were out there
Of
for
any
a while.
land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
So we getting the discharge papers? Also, checkered bedspread. Let's go. I'm rocking that tablecloth chic for my bedroom. Oh, we got religion. We got the cross as a hint. As some
Once
trivia.
I sought out a celebrated ethnologist.
Ethnologist.
And
I'm gonna
amused
be
him
honest. I
with
don't know what
peculiar
that
questions
is.
regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Dagon. Okay, that's how you say it. The more you know. Interesting. I have not heard of Dagon. I'm gonna have to look into him after this. I really like learning about ancient gods and stuff. So this is cool. This is cool. Oh, those are just straight up tits. Okay. Clock. Can we move on? Is there anything I should be finding? Aha! There we go. I
But
swear, I
soon
was looking
perceiving that he
respectfully.
was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Hopelessly conventional. Honestly, that kind of a great insult without being a, like, obvious insult, you know? Just, God. You're so hopelessly conventional. I'm gonna steal that. When people are being boring, I'm just, that's what my next go-to is gonna be. Just, you don't understand. You don't get it, man. Those had 2 hints over there. I think I've missed a lot of hints. There's probably supposed to be, Cosmic Horror Scholar. There probably should have been, like, a hint in most of the places that we've been to so far. But
It is
we're
at
just gonna
night,
leave. Oh.
especially when the moon is gibbous and waning.
Oh, we're back to
I see the
the
thing.
start. The thing.
I tried morphine,
Oh, so he's
but the
hallucinating
drug has given only transient surcease.
the
and has
lizard
drawn
hulk.
me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now,
Yep.
I am to end
That-
it all,
that is
having
what-
written a
what'll
full
happen.
account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
The more you know. What's that? We got some alcohol, drugs and alcohol, an awful mix. You shouldn't do
Often,
that.
I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm, a mere
Phantasm.
freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my
mean,
escape from the
probably.
German man of war.
That's always a possibility, but like, if it was
This
real,
I
that's
ask
kind of cool.
myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply.
Well, that is what
I cannot think
hallucinations
of the
are.
deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed,
Okay,
worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
That's cool.
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Bro, that's cool. Bro, not Lady Liberty, come on. It's okay, we'll put a mermaid tail on her, she'll be fine. You know?
The end is near.
Wait. Are they trying to open the door? Sorry, no one's home, no room service, please.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
I'm sorry, we don't need housekeeping. I'm actually going to sleep.
It shall not find me.
I think it has. I'm not gonna lie. Oh. I said it has.
God, that hand. The window. The window.
The window. To the ground. Boom. Wait, I accidentally timed that almost perfectly. Hey! That was cool. That was a quirky little fun game. I'm gonna have to thank Penta for suggesting this to me, because that was fun. Woohoo! Alright. I think, yeah, that was it. That was really cool. Dagon. I'll have to look more into him. He sounds cool. He sounds really cool. One day I should do... Oh yeah, I missed like half of them. Alright, morphine. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century. Okay, so I think these are just like little fun facts. So, I'm going to, real quickly, I will read all of these things after we do the quick little outro bit. But real quickly, if you enjoyed the video, you know, you could leave a like, you could subscribe, you could do all those fun little things. If you haven't already, get today. Don't forget, to eat some food, drink some water, meds and vitamins check for those of you who haven't, or who need them, and shower, because you probably stink. I will see all you goblins and ghouls and the rest of you fools in the next video. I'm gonna try and post more often. We'll see how it goes. But now, for those of you who would like to stay, let's get to reading these little fun facts. So let's finish with the morphine one. Alright, so morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Yikes. Morphine became more popular after the invention of hypodermic syringe. Oh, of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Frederick Serturner? I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. Morpheus! I love that dude. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. The more you know. The HUNS. Let's get down to business to defeat the HUNS. Probably not the same people. The HUNS were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on the 27th of July, 1900, before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their king Attila, made the name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. I'm not sure I like that phrasing, but we'll move on. Our refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. I still think that's so funny. Like, I'm not huge into, like, history and wars and stuff, but of course you learn it in school. And I think the funniest thing, and I understand why it exists, but war is supposed to be like, yes, all of the laws of the land don't exist anymore. You're just fighting it out, and whoever wins, whatever. But the fact that there's even war rules, like, hey, listen, I know you're out here massacring each other, but you can't do this. This one thing, yeah, that's too far. I'm just like, that's wild to me. Like, it's good that it exists. I just think it's really funny. The creator of the Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Relay was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the Marania snailfish? Can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet below the ocean surface, in never-ending darkness, at hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photo of deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fangtooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's hard not to find some irony in this. The more you know. Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling story through carvings, journals and characters' notes, islands emerging from the oceans, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's get the details in order not to spoil the ending. Fair enough. Oh yeah, because you can read it in the thing. The Atheist. Oh, is that the one by the cross? He considered himself an atheist and an absolute materialist, which he attributed partly to his early childhood interest in astronomy and science in general. In his own words, I am indeed an absolute materialist so far as actual belief goes, with not a shred of credence in any form of supernaturalism, religion, spiritualism, transcendentalism, metempsychosis, or immortality. I probably didn't say a lot of those right. All I say is that I think it is damned unlikely that anything like a central cosmic will, a spirit world, or an eternal survival of personality exists. They're the most preposterous and unjustified of all the guesses which can be made about the universe, and I am not enough of a hair splitter to pretend that I don't regard them as errant and negligible moonshine. In theory, I am agnostic, but pending the appearance of radical evidence, I must be classed, practically and provisionally, as an atheist. The more you know. I think that's probably the funniest opinion I've seen on any sort of spiritual belief of just errant and negligible moonshine. Just fair enough, to each their own. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. Oh, cool. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The ruler of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison wardener in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistaken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew, the word dag means fish. Ah. In Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He's worshipped by a secret cult called the Asteric Order of Dagon. It's kind of cool. August Dellereth and the Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works, after his death he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine, he was a devout Catholic, to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. Oh, that's interesting. It's also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Dellereth after the author left the mortal plane. Huh. Mans was just out here like, yeah, I have these theories and stuff. I'm just gonna write these stories. And someone else was just like, hey, I see that you're dead, let me just change it up real quick. Lovecraft's attempts to find a job in 1925 were influenced by advice he received from friends. Among others, he started freelancing for a marketing magazine where he would write announcements and commercials. Feel free to judge his copywriting skills for yourself. For an ad for Curtis Woodwork. I don't really care about reading an ad, I'm gonna be honest. You can pause and go back to read that if you'd like. The Scientist. These days, the word scientist is a widely accepted term, but at the time Dagon was published, it was subject to a wide debate. After the author used it in the story, critics pointed out that man of science was more appropriate term to employ. He admitted in defense of Dagon that if Dagon were to be reprinted, he would indeed use the phrase they suggested. Scientist was coined as analog to artist, to be used when referring to those studying different branches of science. Yet, in the 19th and early 20th century, scientific researchers in Great Britain and the United States were of the opinion that man of science, resembling the term man of letters, was the only proper choice. Among other things, it was gender-specific, indicating that the science was an endeavor to pursue. We love that for them. Imagine science only going to men. Listen, like, we're okay and all, but there are some absolute genius minds. Why would you not want women to be scientists? Like, I realize it's the old days, misogyny went rampant, women didn't have as many rights, them having jobs were, like, weird, but, like, come on. I don't understand it. The term scientist became more accepted only after World War II, and man of science started fading into obscurity as an old-fashioned synonym. Yay! Progress. Ooh, on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult. In his correspondence with his friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. The more you know. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Zelia Brown, dated 13th of February 1928. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intend to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition, the prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as of any other. Well, hate to break it to you, they tried the prohibition, it didn't work, and it never came back. I wonder what his opinion on weed would be. Because that's kind of like the new, what do you call it? The new debated drug of choice, if you will. But that's all of the ones we found. I might go back through and unlock the rest of all of these, but until then, I think that is it for today. Thank you to everyone who stuck around for that end bit. If you're still here, you should go down and look at the links in the description. I have a Twitch channel, so if you want to hear me rambling around, my stream schedule has been very messed up, basically non-existent at this point, so I can't promise exact times I'm going to stream, but if you would like notifications, you know, you can follow me over there. You can also hop onto my Discord if you want to interact with me there. The links to everything should just be in the description, and yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Without further ado, I already did the outro, but I'll see all you goblins, ghouls, and the rest of you fools in the next whatever I do, whenever I do it. Bye-bye!